Hey everybody, hope everyone had a good weekend. Thanks for joining me on February 20th, and as always, we are not financial advisors and everything you see on here is for educational purposes only. Alright, let's get started with BTC. And since my last update, as you can see, we went all the way back up. So we didn't drop back down like I wanted to for the daily pattern. The weekly is still in there, we'll go over that in a little bit. But we actually played out exactly how I mentioned we technically would have, right? There's two scenarios I gave. I gave one that I see happening, and two was the one I want to happen. Unfortunately, the one that I wanted to happen didn't drop back down. It actually keep going up. But we now did our little pattern, which is the reverse head and shoulders. So this is where it really gets really interesting, because we went up and closed the weekly candle. So on the weekly, we hit the strong reversal fib. This is my last one. This is the one where when it lands here and it breaks, or it lands, locks it in, if it breaks, it's the one that signals, hey, this is going to take off. So this is going to like pump. Now, we went up, we closed on a strong reversal fib here for the weekly. We also closed right here a strong reversal fib on the daily. This signals that, hey, we need to drop back down, which we did, but when we dropped, we landed on another strong reversal fib, hinting we have to go back up. So on the daily, that quickly changed. Now, what's interesting here, and it's annoying because right now it's just kind of going sideways, which I did mention in one of my videos. I was like, look, honestly, we might even just go sideways. We might go all the way back up and then just go sideways and then eventually fail. That's technically happening right now. But what could change that is the fact that because if this closes on this strong reversal fib, meaning if we don't dump back down later on today, it's going to make another green candle push upward. Right now it's closing below the trend line, but if we close on this fib line, which is 23,853, so 23,853, if it closes here, it's like, how it's happened back here, right? Hey, we close up, I think it was like right here, this one. Hey, we close this in green, it's going to build another green candle, and that helped it pump even more. And I think somewhere over here it happened the same thing. It's like, hey, if we break above, like if this closes really high up here, and this fib line, the fib line says, hey, we're going to have another green candle, that means it's going to push back up. And if we push back up, it could break the fib line, even on the weekly, and that signals that technically we should have a nice little breakout upward. So it's really important that this thing drops, if we want it to drop, for it to drop back down, and the next candle be green, and it still stays up here. Do you know what I mean? So this is going to drop back down, close, and then the next candle goes up, but does comes up a little bit, but stays on this fib line. And then it can reverse back down. Because then we would do pretty much what, like I said, what it would do. Where we would do this, and go back up, and kind of go sideways a little bit, and then drop. So that's actually kind of playing out. I wanted it to drop back down, so it's like an ABC, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So it's going to be very important how we close today. Another thing that someone pointed out is on Wednesday we have another FOM meeting that could actually cause the market to react a little crazy too. So that will be in 2 days. So it'll be over here. So we have one more candle in between. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But right now we need to see where we close on this candle here, because that's going to determine a lot of stuff. Like if we close all the way up here, really close to this, that means the next candle has to break above it. And that's going to mean that, hey, it's going to take off, and our reverse head and shoulders, it's going to actually play out. So, when we do that. And let's actually set that up real quick. Which one has it? I think it's this one. So if we put this here, okay, so we're going to move it over to like that. And if I do this to this, that's 45%. That means if we break that fib line, like I mentioned before, Bitcoin will go up to like 35K. because that's what the head and shoulders usually do. They match whatever their peak is. So, and because it's kind of angled, I'm gonna make it a little bit like smaller just to be on the safe side. And this is what I mean, like it's 35K. Even though like it's at 36, I want to like give us a little leeway. So if we close on this purple fib, and tomorrow we could start actually having that nice little pump all the way up to that, then obviously my pattern then will be broken, so we won't be able to follow that. Well, it's not broken yet because it hasn't locked it in, but that's what we've been saying, like, oh, I wanted to do this because I want to lock it in. But at the same time, I'm not going to just, have wishful thinking. I'm still going to track it. This is how we knew, like, okay, cool, it's going to do the reverse head and shoulders, and look how perfectly it played out. And we're still kind of going sideways. So it's going to be very important for that. Now, what's interesting here also is if we look at the dollar, the dollar closed these other two targets that it had. So I can make these little things short like this, make this one short like this, because they already hit those two targets. It's going to go back, like let's say it goes down one last time, just enough to close this out, the 101, and then it comes back down. So that's still going to be that means Bitcoin would have to push up and then down. So this is pretty interesting because we do know we have to come back up to this. It's taking a sweet time, and it actually might take a sweet time until like, end of August. So that means this part of the year might be kind of slow. Well, at least this part of the year. So like after maybe like April, then Bitcoin could drop. If they're kind of corresponding with each other. But we have this, and this is a nice size little gap. You can already see, right, from right here. So it has to come back down to that. And again, if this drops, then Bitcoin technically should go up. There are times where they don't follow each other. But as for right now, we have to wait to see where we close on this candle, because that's going to be very important. If this candle closes really high, close to this, then that signals, hey, you know what? It's about to take off again. But if this candle drops back down, then it means, the weekly fib is still holding. Because on the weekly, we can still have this candle as long as it doesn't break above that. On the weekly, this candle should turn red for the whole week, meaning we could have some green days, but then eventually it's going to have to come back down. So this should eventually turn back to red. It's green now, but it could turn into red. Something like kind of like this, right? It's a green candle. Let's say this was the top. And then this one, you see how it went up, got really close, but then it came back down and turned red. So that's what this could turn into. And if this turns into red, then at least the weekly is playing out. Because remember I mentioned a while back, like the weekly actually still looks pretty good. Where we had the little weak candle here, big, big, big. And then we had a retrace, a decent sized retrace. From here to here, that's a decent sized retrace. And then we would need like some really random spike, which could be this. So we would need this one to drop back down. And then we'll do that. So we'll see if it will try to play that, because we want to lock that in. So at least we know where the market's going to go for the rest of the year. And usually my patterns don't go that far out. It's only like a certain amount. But like I said, we're going to have to wait for this. I don't want to make this video too long because I'm already talking about Bitcoin for like 8 minutes. So rest of the coins are kind of just going sideways. Some of these have had some nice little pumps, but keep in mind, they still have to drop back down to their targets, 15. So this is how we know, like, we eventually still have to come back down, even if they do their little pump like that, right? They'll just have to come back down. Which I do want to touch one last thing on Bitcoin. Something I mentioned yesterday was like, for some reason, this part right here grabs my attention. And it's just like playing out in a bigger form. And what this tells me is like, this shows like a big old drop. I don't know why that grabs my attention. So you have to be mindful, like, hey, it could go sideways a little bit and then completely dump back down. So, but it's all going to come down to where we close today on this green candle. So I'll keep everybody updated on that. Touch up on Luna real quick, because people always ask like, oh, what about Luna? What about Luna? Luna has not changed. Like, if you look at the pattern here, we had the nice little pump and it's going sideways. Technically, it should pump any day now, from now to like a week from now. It can be a random spike and then starts to take off. Right, we have this, and again, if you always want to know where it's at, you can always come back to this video, pause it, and be like, all right, where are we at? It could even play the whole amount, right? It could actually do this, and we have to wait, you know, that other extra week, or maybe even longer. Sometimes, remember, the patterns play out pretty well, but there are times where, like, you know, it's a little off, and it could take longer. For example, from this drop here, which was this is a little bit of sideways compared to what it actually did. Like, it doubled this. So worst case scenario, it could even go sideways for another week, so 2 weeks total, and then it take off. The key thing is here is that you got to be patient. I mean, you can't be like, oh well, when moon. That's the same mentality that got everybody wrecked in you know, that bull market we just went through. But other than that, now I did want to touch up on Shiba real quick, because Shiba's at a point where, you know, it's building nice resistance here. So I can honestly see Shiba do like a nice little pump. You know what I mean? Let's see. If I put this trend line somewhere like here. You know, it's kind of like a flag pattern. It just broke above. But the fact that it's holding above these, like, it touched it about, what, 5 times already? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because these little ones. So it touched it a few times, 4 like in groups. You know, and if Bitcoin's gonna go up, this signals that this thing has a nice little pump. So if they announce Shibarium any day now, like, I can see Shiba having a nice little pump. So just be, you know, no watch out for that. This is just like a feeling just based off, like, I've always seen these like patterns, like, because it's holding so well and it's just kind of going sideways. It's either that or it's gonna have a nice breakdown, and that's if Bitcoin dumps. So don't think like, oh my god, I'm gonna go FOMO into Shiba right now. You always gotta have a plan, right? You understand where you want to get in, right? Where's your stop loss, and like at least somewhat of a target, right? Always gotta have a plan. Don't just jump in and be like, all right, let's see what happens. Let's play the lotto. But other than that, that's gonna be it for today. Again, I don't want to take up too much time, and again, we have to wait to see where this green prints, because that's gonna tell us a lot of info. Whether if it drops back down, cool, then it's just gonna do another green one, and it should be sideways. If we close really high up, then it's like, okay, we're about to take off. It's about to pump again. And then we have the FOM meeting on Wednesday, so that could affect a lot of things too. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. So stay tuned, everybody. All right, I'll see everybody on the Discord. Alright, so if you're looking for a new crypto home, I do offer a premium Discord. Link will be in the description. It's tindicator.com. If we come down here, we'll select Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi or Ko-Fi? I think it's Ko-Fi, actually. I have people calling different things. But anyways, here are the memberships that I offer. So $10 a month gets you the market update video. So I post an update Monday through Friday. Sometimes Saturday and Sundays if there's, you know, something interesting going on in the market. I have 2 rooms at $30. One of them is $29.99 and the other one's $30 exactly. If you're wondering why, it's because Ko-Fi doesn't let me do 2 $30 ones, so I have to have one a penny less. So peace of mind is full access to the Discord community. So that would be this all here. So you get the market updates, crypto chat, daily plays. This is where I post all of my stuff, give you updates. I get the end of the day summary, so people already know what's going on for this morning. You know, you get the passive income, you got the hidden gems, group Zoom, newsworthy, daily plays. You know, you can see charts that people request, so I can give updates on different coins. You got the spiritual mobile side of things. So a lot to offer here. Now I have a $30 premium trade room, and what this gives you is we currently do have a free trade room, but there's also a premium version of it, and that's this here. So the free one, the public one, gives you 7 different coins that it trades. The premium would add 20 more. So as in yesterday, it had 1 trade for Link, and on the premium side we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other coins. So you get a bunch more calls in the premium side. Now I do have the Edge, which gives you both. So for $60 a month, you get the full, you know, you get the market update, you get the full Discord community, You get the signal alerts, you get the premium trade room, but you can also request charts and then do 2 Zoom sessions a month. So like I mentioned earlier, everybody can see these charts here that people request, but you have to be on the edge tier to actually be able to request them. So if there's a coin that no one's talking about and you want to see where it's at, because there's been a lot of times where I've given people, hey, you know what, it's good, there's a good entry, you can get in now, because they want to buy a specific coin. And there's times where it's like, you know what, it's already pumped, it's already hit a reversal fib, wait for it to come back down. So now they get in at an even better price. So that's why I call it edge, because you get an edge on the market on these coins, because you don't want to get into a coin and it dumps back down even more. You know, they have these little bullish, bearish targets, or you were thinking about getting it and waiting for it to get lower, but it has a lot of bullish targets, so you don't want to get left behind. I do have an Edge Plus, which pretty much gives us more zooms, but I have that one full. But we do, for the Edge, you do get 2 Zoom sessions with me, so we can go over your portfolio, any issues you might have with some of your wallets, or you want to learn how these wallets work, these hardware wallets. I've even had some people who like to just come on and chat and sometimes vent. You know, sometimes we need that, especially for the big, you know, bear market we just had. But the cool thing now, we're going into a sideways market, so that's going to be awesome. On top of that, I do have a little shop here where I do offer, so this price is not set or guaranteed yet, so don't buy it for now. It actually could go up or might go lower. I haven't decided on if I'm going to release my scalping indicator. I'm so booked right now and full of like people I gotta help, so I turned off the personal 101 scalping trading for beginners. I do have the video out though. If this is for the people who want to learn how to do scalp trading, you know, it goes over a lot of the essentials that a lot of people who do these kind of videos don't go over. They just pretty much show you how this indicator works, and then that's it. You're on your own. With me, it's we keep chatting even after you watch the video. You send me you know, a bunch of updates, a bunch of charts you're doing to make sure you're doing it correct before I even have you trade for real. So a lot to offer there. But other than that, thank you for watching my video today. Have a great one.